just getting started here then. All right, so I was just going to introduce the Private Investigators Association of Idaho for anybody who's not familiar. We're the Idaho Association. We are a fun group to be part of. I would strongly encourage anyone who likes to network and get connected with different associations to give us a look. We've got some cool resources that we're developing, and Micah's presentation here today is going to be part of that, because one of the things we do is we have a library of just 1 hour training videos that we are creating and maintaining on YouTube. I will put the link to that in the chat, and then if anybody's interested, those are just up there forever, available. You can almost kind of go on your own little stick together training thing, and just learning and growing is a big part of who we are. So for you to find us, I will put all the links in the chat. For everybody who has just come in recently, I will encourage you to mute your mics so that we don't accidentally interrupt our speaker. And I think the last thing I have before handing it off to Micah is just that if you're here today, you qualify to be part of a raffle drawing that we'll do halfway through. And Micah, if you're fine with it, I'll just interrupt you somewhere at about the 30-minute mark and we'll take a little break. If you would like to be included in the raffle, please put your preferred email contact into a chat to me, the host. You'll see the PIAI host name, and I will grab that. Please also include your name, because something we've learned is that sometimes people pop their email in and it doesn't have the name and the email address, and then we don't have any idea who we're talking to. So if you'd like to participate, put that in the chat to me. We'll do that at 30 minutes. And with that, Micah, remind me if you want to take questions at the end or as you go.
I think maybe while we go, that would be cool.
Okay.
So if people have questions, just send them over to Claire, the PIAI. That way I don't have to monitor the chat, and just interrupt me because I get into kind of a flow state when I'm doing these presentations. So just, interrupt me.
Sounds awesome. Okay, take it away, Micah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Claire, for having me. And for those of you that are noticing that I'm presenting solo, I am my colleague Griffin Glynn, who's my business partner and my buddy in crime here. Well, not in crime, but buddy in OSINT, is having a family emergency today, so he's not able to be here. So I'm going to have some fun with you all. Let's talk about some of the things that we're going to discuss. Now, Claire mentioned that one of the things that I should do is introduce myself. And I'm Micha Hoffman. I've done a whole bunch of things over the course of my 20 years of cybersecurity and open source intelligence. As Claire mentioned, I am the creator of the What's My Name project, which drives the What's My Name.app website. So if you've ever used What's My Name, give me a thumbs up in the Zoom here so I can see if anybody's heard of that tool. What's My Name.app is a free tool, and I'll actually show it in just a second. But one of the things that Griffin and I do is we run a training academy called MyOSINT.training, where we have online recorded courses where we teach virtual courses, and we also teach live in-person courses certain times of the year. Just one thing for you all to know, since timing is pretty good. If you like what I'm teaching here today, you would love it if Griffin and I both taught you. We're teaching a live in-person OSINT training, which we don't really usually open up to the public, but in June, we're going to be in Boston, Massachusetts, teaching a 2-day course on things that we're going to be talking about here and going much deeper as well. So just thought I'd throw that out there in case you're interested. What I'm going to show you today is when we were talking to Claire about like what should we talk about, she explained that the audience here is very diverse in what you do, where you are, and what you have access to. So I thought that what we would do is keep everything free. I'm not going to show you any tool you have to pay for or request budget for. I'm going to show you tools that you're going to be able to learn, you're going to be able to try out, and then rapidly incorporate into your workload so that you or your work process so you can just work better, faster, and hopefully more sanely. The tools here, some of which you're going to know right off the bat, like this one, What's My Name app. What's My Name app is going to be our first tool, but we're going to go through several other tools that are browser-based extensions and one of my passion projects. Claire, you and I were talking before we actually started the recording about some of the other things that I've done that were just fun projects for me. And there's one that I really, really like, and I think that it really speaks well to like the OSINT mindset that I bet I can figure this out. I bet I can find the answer, collect the data, and then come up with some analyses. So we'll go through all of that in the next 55 minutes or so. If you have a question, please send it to Claire. If not, here we go. Our first tool is What's My Name app. Now, as I mentioned, What's My Name app is a tool that I developed back in 2015. When I was doing a lot of web hacking, I was breaking into websites for companies to show them how weak their websites were. And what I found was that a lot of profiles, a lot of user profiles had the usernames of in their URL. So if you think about like x.com/webbreacher or instagram.com/webbreacher or pornhub.com/users/webbreacher, the URL contains a username. And I thought, wouldn't it be neat to make a detection tool that when a request is sent to the website, it sends back something, and then we look and go, hey, if there's a valid profile there, I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to look for this content in the response. And if it's there, I'll know that there is one there. If that response is not there, then there's probably not a profile there. And I did this because the tools at the time were so false positive prone. This tool is what actually does all of that hard work. What's my name.app. And if you look for something like Mad for Miracle Max, we enter in a username into the username field. And then one of the very important things is you hit the little blue button. This blue button will bring up all the categories. Why is it important? Well, right now, What's My Name, the entire project has over 700 websites it'll check. Some of us have fast internet and some of us have not fast internet. So if you're just interested in things like financial sites, you can select that category, or dating sites or technology sites. You can just select a subset of sites, or you can select all of them. Now, I do want to warn you, What's My Name.app has over 700 sites in it, and some of them check not safe for work websites, websites that have pornography, websites that are sharing videos that are not safe for work. Maybe they have sexual or other types of profiles on there. And the reason why they're there is not to embarrass you or anything like that, but some of the people that we're researching, they may have profiles on this site. One of the things I didn't share is that part of the work that I do right now and Griffin does is we work with the National Child Protection Task Force, where we try to find missing and exploited children. And if those children are being exploited and there's a profile with their username over on one of these call girl, call boy sites or sex ad sites, I would want to be able to find that. Not only that, but some of you might be doing executive protection or executive online profiling. And I actually did some work years ago where we had a vice president in this large Fortune 500 company who had a certain username. And then when I ran it through What's My Name, it checked on a site like Pornhub. And that very unique username was over there along with their location, which matched the person I was researching. And so I was very quickly able to bring up this potentially embarrassing piece of data that would be bad if it got out to other people. So you should think about whether you want to tactically turn on the all sites, which would have some of those not safe for work ones, or exclude not safe for work. We're just going to exclude the not safe for work and then hit this. We do have to prevent those bots from abusing this tool. That actually happened a long time ago, or not so long ago. Last year, we had some bots that abused this tool, and so we had to put in some cookies and captchas. What this tool right now is doing is it is sending out requests and reviewing the responses based upon the detections that we've created in What's My Name. Now, again, What's My Name only checks for profiles, usernames on websites that have the username as part of the URL. So if you're going to Fitbit or something else where Fuzzy Bunny 123 does not appear in the URL, What's My Name is simply not going to be able to find it. Also, some of the major social media platforms actively prevent us from doing our detections on there. So you won't find Facebook on here and some of the other major platforms because our techniques for detection just don't work. As you can see here on the left-hand side, we have the green buttons, which I actually do not enjoy. I like this nice little table on the right-hand side. It tells me exactly what the site is, categories of what that site might do, whether it's finance or coding or gaming or social, and then a link that I can click and visit the profile. This, as you all know, is data. This is not information. This is not OSINT intelligence type of stuff. This is just, I ran a tool and here's the data. So what we need to do now is if I'm interested in this Mad for Miracle Max person, I would click each one of these, visit their profile, and then see if there were others, if there was other corroborating data that would relate this profile that I'm clicking on to my target. Okay, maybe a profile picture, bio, other things they would be in common. At the bottom of the page here, there are a couple of other things. One, there's documents using a Google custom search engine. And then over here, we have just regular results using a custom search engine. I generally don't like using these, but every now and then you may find that, hey, there's some good information here. What I prefer to do is actually go to Google. So I will go to Google and I'll take that exact Mad for Miracle Max. I'll take that exact username and I'll put it right in here with quotation marks. The quotation marks say, hey, Google, whatever I typed in here has to appear in the results. And when I hit enter, what you'll notice is the very first hit is an x.com or formerly Twitter account that is Mad for Miracle Max 2. Remember how I told you that the username needs to be in the URL for What's My Name to work? Well, it has to be that exact username. So in my line of work, finding missing children, what I constantly find is that they're evolving their usernames with underscores and periods, with different years as they move through their life, as they have different friend groups or other things. Here, we see Mad for Miracle Max 2 has an x.com account, and that might be my person, but I would not have found them if I had just done What's My Name. So my strong suggestion for you, use the tools, but also use the search engines and understand how the search engines work. Just adding quotes to something like Mad for Miracle Max, a person's name, can be a very powerful tool. To couple with that, I'm going to say, don't just use one search engine. Let's take this. I'm going to copy it and go over to Bing. All right. I'm going to type in the exact same query over here. Now, in Bing here, I see a different first result. Do you know why I see GitHub as the first result? Just nod your head if you know. Who owns Bing? Microsoft. Who owns GitHub? Microsoft. Does Microsoft own a social media platform as well? LinkedIn, right? Yeah. So using multiple search engines and running the exact same query in multiple places can allow the search engine to dig into its more internal set of data to bring to light links and profiles that you didn't even know existed. So here we see GitHub as the first profile. Microsoft owns it. If Mad for Miracle Max owned a LinkedIn profile, which he doesn't, then that might have shown up here too. If I type in Micha Hoffman here, It's going to pull up my LinkedIn account because Microsoft and Bing. So use different search engines tactically. And if you use what's my name.app along with search engines, you'll be covering most all of the sites that are out there. All right, that's the first one. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into something a little bit more technical, but also something that all of you can do. Um, when I first started, as I was talking with Claire about, when I first started getting into OSINT, I was a very technical person. I was doing web hacking. I was doing things with Python and other more command line tools. So that was very comfortable for me. But what I've learned is a lot of people don't have that comfort level. And so what we need to do is do things in the web browser. And some things we do in the web browser can automate tasks that we find, well, challenging, frustrating, repetitive. I'll bet some of you have had to find the Facebook ID or Instagram ID for some social media profile that you're looking at, or the TikTok ID. And doing that over and over and over again by right-clicking on the page, searching in the page source code for user ID or something else, and then extracting the right one, that can be really redundant and take a lot of time. What Griffin and I have done is we've created this thing called bookmarklets. Bookmarklets is not something that we invented, somebody else did, but it's essentially a bookmark that's in your web browser that does a little something special using JavaScript. And so one of the sites I'd like you to write down is this site, tools.myosint.training. And I'll provide these links to Claire after the trainings that they can be included in the YouTube show notes. What tools.myosint training has is a bunch of free bookmarklets. And if you don't fully grasp what bookmarklets can do by the end of this talk, you can scroll down to the very bottom here, at the very bottom of the page. There's a YouTube video that Griffin and I did that explains it a little bit more deeply. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to Amy Jackson. This is just a person on TikTok. I don't know if she's actually watching this. If you are, hey, how's it going? But this is just a random person's profile on TikTok. Let's say that this was your target and you needed to collect their TikTok ID, when the account was created, and other data so that you can pass it on to your customer. What I can tell you is that hidden inside of the source code of the page are things like when the account was created. It doesn't show in your web browser like this, but using these bookmarklets that Griffin and I have created, you can just click on it and it'll appear. Let me show you how it works. You go to tools.myosint training. You scroll down. We're going to go down to TikTok. Here's TikTok user ID bookmarklet. It tells you, there's a description here. It tells you exactly what you need to do, what this is, what it works on. Here we need a URL like www.tiktok.com/@MrBeast, and it extracts the user profile data in a pop-up window. And then here's some tags, and here's when we last changed it. All you have to do is left click on this button and drag it up to your bookmark bar and let go. And you see I've made a bookmark, right? It's just a regular bookmark, but that bookmark has JavaScript in it that when you go to the right page, like this one, and you click on the button, what it'll do is it looks in the source code of that page, says, hey, I know where the username is. I know where the display name is. Ooh, here's the TikTok ID. Look at that. We have a created on date, a nickname change date, the bio, which is right up here, and the current URL. So when you're doing your work, you can do this type of thing on Facebook, on Instagram, on several other platforms as well. It's going to save you a lot of time, and we're not modifying the page or anything. All we're doing is we're looking in the source code of the page and bringing some of that hidden data to the forefront. So what we generally will do is take a picture of the profile without the pop-up. Then we take one with the pop-up. And when we do that, we get all of this data and it's captured with the profile picture and other things as well. Okay. So that's one example of what a bookmarklet can do. And let me show you another thing over here. This is Facebook. And one of the things that's very common for us is we'll see vanity names up here. Like this is just Adam, facebook.com/Adam. Don't know who he is, but just he's got that vanity name of facebook.com, Adam. Because of that, I can't see what his user ID is. I work with law enforcement a lot. And when we say, hey, there's this profile that we need you to maybe send legal process to, they're going to ask, what is the Facebook ID? Because that's what Meta needs to pull the proper details. So what do? I have to dive into the source code of the page, all these things, and then get it. Or I can go back to my OSINT training, go to scroll up to Facebook. There's a Facebook user ID bookmarklet. Just drag it up there. Go back to Adam. And when I click on this, it says, hey, here's his Facebook ID, 834152. And if I wanted to, I could verify that just by pasting in his user ID into the facebook.com URL. And when I hit that, of course, it's going to ask me to log in. I'm not logged in. If you were logged in with a research account, it would redirect you right back to Adam's profile. Cool, right? Save you time. If you're doing a lot of social media stuff, this kind of stuff can save you hours and lots of frustration. Next thing I want to do is show a different thing that bookmarklets can do. Bookmarklets can sometimes reveal things or get you access to stuff that you don't normally have access to. For instance, this profile right here is a locked profile. And we can't do things like open this, like get access to this picture right here. So, I mean, I can see the picture is pretty small, but if I wanted a larger version of it to do like a reverse image search, I can't do that here. It won't let me right click and look at the image. But we have, as you probably have thought of, we have a Facebook bookmarklet called Facebook Locked Profile Image. And if we bring that up to the taskbar, go back over to this profile and click it, what it does is it extracts that image, blows it up as big as it can get, and then we'll present it to you in the page. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because one of the interesting things is that when it blows it up, what it does is it removes the mask. See this circle mask here? None of our cameras take circle pictures. They take rectangles, squares. But what happens is when we upload those square or rectangle pictures to social media, they will then put a mask in front of it and make it a nice circle or round or oval picture. What we've done is we've said, give me the real picture, give me the actual picture. And you can see that there's extra data up at the top of it that may help you identify what platform that picture came from or something else. So here, now we can take this picture and do some work on reverse image search or facial recognition if you have access to that. Okay. So again, that was the Facebook locked profile image bookmarklet. And we've got a whole bunch of other ones here for different platforms. I'll show you one more and then we'll try a different tool because I think you get the idea of how to do this. I love this next one because one of the things that Griffin figured out was that when you do your online research for your work, for your OSINT work, and you do that research and it's using a regular web browser, you miss things. If you do the work from your phone, your mobile device, from a mobile device with web browser, you'll see things that you don't see in the desktop. And it has to do with something called the user agent that's sent with every request to the destination server. So when I visit Cash App /$Jane to look at Jane's profile on Cash App, Cash App understands, hey, you're coming from a Unix computer system or a Linux computer system, and you're using Google Chrome of a certain version. Well, because of that, it gives me the desktop version of the application. It gives me the desktop version of their site. But if I was visiting this with a mobile version, when I hit my Safari and say, go to Cash App /$Jane, it'll say, hey, I'm on an iPhone and I'm a mobile. what Cash App will do is it'll show you a profile picture for some of the people. You miss that if you just hit it with you miss it if you just hit it with a web browser in your Windows or Mac system. Let me show you how you get access to that. You probably guessed there's a bookmarklet for that. The Cash App in the Cash App profile bookmarklet. I'm just going to drag it up to there. And all we have to do is click on that. Now it changes the way the screen looks. It will bring the picture to the foreground and it'll show other attributes like, is this a business or personal plan? What country did they register in? And is the account verified? Stuff that, depending upon the work that you're doing, that might be interesting to you or might be important or it might not. But we now have a picture that we didn't see before. And this bookmarklet can be really useful for bringing that to light. Does it work all the time? Absolutely not. But sometimes it works all the time. All right. So I think right now, Claire, would you like to do the drawing?
Yes,
Awesome.
that sounds great. We're going to break for just a minute, guys. We may need a couple more minutes to actually complete the drawing, but at the moment, let me just remind everybody that if you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you have a desire to enter our raffle drawing, please also put your name and your email in the chat. We've got quite a few of you so far. You got maybe 30 more seconds where you can participate. And then also, while we're waiting for that to happen, Mike, I am getting some questions. So can I
Yeah,
pass those along to you right now?
sure. Let's go for it.
Okay, so the first one is about using VPNs, which I
Yeah.
think yeah, this is a good one, common one as well. Importance of using a VPN while using these OSINT sites for your PI work. Is there something you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're really talking about is protecting yourself, right? Operational security. And operational security is a layered approach. So I mentioned research accounts. When you're on social media, you're not going to be using your Micha Hoffman. Actually, you might be using your Micha Hoffman. I won't be using my Micha Hoffman profile. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. One of the places where you want to protect yourself is your network traffic. So a lot of us use VPNs. I'm not using a VPN in this case. What I'm using is a virtual platform that's up in the cloud called Chasm Web. The reason why is that many of you might be familiar with virtual machines. You know, you have VirtualBox or VMware on your local platform, and that's where you do all your work to separate your OSINT work from your host system, your Windows or your Mac system. It keeps it safer in case you get a virus or so that the social media companies cannot fingerprint your system. If you look in my browser here, it might be a little confusing. I've got some browser tabs up the top here, and then I have browser tabs down here, and I actually have a Linux, and this is actually a Linux computer running on Chasm's servers up on the internet. So when I browse from this Chrome browser, it's not from my home address, and it's not from Proton VPN or Mullvad VPN. It's from the IP address of this server. And that one isolates my traffic. Two means I don't have to run like a virtual machine on my system. And three, it makes it so that I can actually access this live desktop from my mobile phone or from an iPad. And I can pretend to be a Linux computer, and I can, on my other system, I actually have all my research accounts logged in so that when I log in, everybody is ready to go and I can get on Instagram or TikTok. So that, for those of you that care, is Chasm Web, KASM web.com. They have been incredibly good for making this happen. If you
Great.
can't, if you don't want to do Chasm Web, sorry, Claire, just to go back, if you don't want to do Chasm Web, yeah, definitely use a VPN. I like Proton VPN and Mullvad right now, but depending on what country you're in, you might choose a different one. Just don't use the free ones because they will track what you do. All right, back to you, Claire.
The next one I've got is regarding the Cash App. How do
Yeah.
they verify? Why would they not be verified?
Oh, okay. So that's actually a user profile thing, right? So here on this page, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. This is a non-verified person. What that means is that they have not done something to Cash App to prove that this person is the real person behind it. Maybe they haven't provided bank statements or something. I don't know. LinkedIn has been asking me to continue to verify my LinkedIn. I'm like, I've owned this account for 15 years. Why do I have to verify it now? It's because they want extra data about me. And if I do give that extra data, then I can possibly get access to some other features or something. But it's really just a feature of the platform. You can actually use Cash App on a mobile device without hooking a bank account to it. So if I have on my undercover phone, I'll have Cash App along with the profile, but I won't have it verified, and that sometimes means that there's no backstopping bank account associated with it.
All right. Um, let's see. It looks like we are ready to go on our raffles. So let's take a moment right now and I'll invite Chris Swan, who is one of my fellow board members, to tell us who's winning the drawing.
Thank you. Am I unmuted?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Great stuff, Micah.
Cool. Thank you.
Great stuff. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Swan. I'm the chairman of our social media and our membership. Thank you very much for coming to the training today. So how we're going to do this, we've got three gifts to give away. We actually have t-shirts, beanies, caps, mugs, notebooks. What I'll do is I will email the three winners and you can choose what you want and we will get that out to you. So won't waste any more time. It's in my PIAI cap. There's the cap. First winner is Morris Abelson, sorry. Second,
Thank you.
okay, there you go. And I should have your email already, Morris.
Yes, I
Austin Hatch again. Austin, they're going to think this is rigged. You won last time. And we have our newest member, Mr. John Hasso.
Thanks, Chris. Sorry to be that guy.
That's all
That's
right.
awesome.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much and enjoy
Fantastic.
the training.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Awesome. That's fun. I
Right.
like raffles. I have two more questions for you, Micah. Is
Okay.
now good?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Does using the bookmarklets leave a footprint anywhere? I'm just going to tell you both of them, okay? And then you can deal with them
Okay.
from there. So footprint, and then the second one is what restrictions might there be with CASM, especially when comparing it with local VM and VPN?
Let's take the easy one first. Any footprints with the bookmarklets? The answer is yes and no. It really depends on what the bookmarklet does. Griffin and I on tools.myosint.training have a bunch of bookmarklets that do certain things. But bookmarklets just do JavaScript. Some of them from other sites, might do things like constantly scroll down the page. Have you ever been like on somebody's X and they are a prolific poster and there are thousands of posts that you need to scroll through? So much so that your scrolling finger starts to get numb and you get that tendonitis in your arm. That's happened to me. And so I look for a bookmarklet, and that bookmarklet just constantly scrolls down the page really nice. But that's robotic type of activity, right? No human constantly scrolls down the page at the exact same rate. Websites will look for that and they could ban or block you or ask you to verify or give you a CAPTCHA. So depending on what the bookmarklet does, yes, you always have control over what the bookmarklet does and all. You can see if I mouse over the bookmarklet here, you can see Facebook user ID bookmarklet and then JavaScript colon, and there's a whole bunch of JavaScript in there. You can take that, decode it, Or really, just put it into Chat GPT and say, what the heck does this do? It'll break down all of the different things it does and let you know, hey, this is safe, or this is going to call out to some website that you don't want, or what have you. So I would say do that. Now, as for the VM and the VPN and the chasm, that's a huge discussion of whether you take local precautions and keep everything on your local system and VPN out or whatever. That's actually going to be a bigger question than I probably have time for right now, because I've got other things I want to talk about. All right, cool. Let's go on. Keep sending those questions to Claire if you, or the PIAI user here in Zoom if you have questions, or if you're watching the YouTube video, put it in the comments. Let's go ahead and back to Cash App. I want to show you one other tool. It's built into your browser and many of you probably have never known about it. It's called the Web Developer Tools. And as a more technical guy, I'm like, this is awesome. This is easy. But it can be a lot overwhelming for those people that maybe are less technical. Let me show you a quick trick to do the exact same thing to get that picture to show up in Cash App. We're going to tell our browser, hey, pretend to be a mobile device. I'm using Chrome now, but this works in Chrome, Brave, Firefox, and most of the major browsers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the little 3 dots here. On Firefox, it's 3 lines. I'm going to go down to More Tools and Developer Tools. You could also hit Control-Shift-I or F12. Developer Tools. When I do this, this thing pops up here and it looks way complicated. Let me just focus you on one button. Right up here, there is this toggle device toolbar. It looks like a little mobile phone and a laptop, and that's what it does. Right now we're seeing the computer version, but if I click this, what it does is it tells my browser, hey, pretend to be an iPhone 12. I want you to resize the screen to be that of an iPhone 12. And when you communicate to a Cash App, tell them you're an iPhone 12. So remember how I told you that Cash App will look at the request from your browser and go, oh, you're using a Windows computer. Well, when it comes from an iPhone 12, guess what? They show you that picture. You can actually browse through social media using this responsive view, and you can change what device you are using. So here, if I do an iPhone 14 Pro Max, that's going to probably make it a bigger screen because an iPhone 14 Pro Max has a bigger resolution. And you see everything got a little bit bigger. And you can see my cursor's changed to a little dot. That's so I can scroll up and down or click on things like you would with your finger. But you see the biggest part is that now it's treating our browser as a mobile device. And sometimes that can help you see things that you wouldn't normally see. Cool. I'm going to leave you with that, and we're going to go on to some other free tools. All right. The next tool is one for those of you that like doing reverse image searching. To take a step back, let's just go over here to Google. And when I type in something like web breacher, that's the handle that I go by. You get the all and you see all this stuff there, but many of us go over to the images and see who is this person. Like, okay, there's an evil looking Micha right there. We've got some other things. These images are places where when Google is scanning the internet, it finds the word web breacher on a page, and then it finds images and it collects those images. What we commonly do is we will take an image from some social media site or some website and try to find out, hey, where else has this been used on the internet? Because maybe we're looking for the origin of that image. We're looking to see if that image is actually related to whatever it's being posted for. For instance, there's a lot of disinformation that's posted using older pictures from conflicts and uprisings that are not related to the other to what it's currently being posted about. So there'll be rocks being thrown at police, and then somebody will go, look what's happening in this city that's near you. This is terrible. But really, that was for an event on the other side of the world, and it's nothing to do with the current uprising or current unrest or whatever's happening. So we'll try to look for the source data and try to do some fact checking. Let me show you a very free tool. That's a browser plugin for Firefox or for Chrome or Brave that will speed up all of this work. It's this little red camera here. It's called Search by Image. And I'm going to go ahead and go into the options for it. It's called Search by Image. If I mouse over it, yeah, Search by Image. And it's found in the Firefox store, the Chrome store. So you can just download it and put it in there. It's free, and I've been using it for years. It's awesome. Because while you might know about Google reverse image search and TinEye reverse image search, you might not have known about all of these other websites that'll allow you to do reverse image search, including things like Shutterstock, Adobe Stock Photos, Taobao over in Asia. What about this? The Australian trademark search page. You can search for a logo from somebody's shirt and see if maybe on the other side of the world they have it in some database. We have PIMI, IKEA. Have a picture of a table or a chair that you can't pronounce. Right click, send it off to IKEA, and they'll go, oh yeah, this is that thing, and it's sold in these places. So it can really help you with product identification as well. First thing to do once you install this application or this plugin is click on it and hit the menu and options. Because I will tell you this, while you might want to turn on all of these sites, that's not what you ever want to do, because what it will do is it will take a picture from the picture that you specify, and then it's going to open a tab in your browser and make requests from your browser to all of these different sites. Let me show you how it works, okay? I've turned on a couple of these. I'm going to go to this random web page here. And this is for crypto fortunes. Ooh, next wave crypto fortunes. This is great. This person's trying to sell us cryptocurrency stuff. And you know what? They have testimonials. And when you look at the testimonials, you'll notice that they are trying to tailor this to a certain group of people, right? They have a very specific audience of people that they want to trust them on. Well, let's take one of these images and see where it might come from by doing a reverse image search. Normally, we'd have to download the image or copy the URL, go to Google Lens, paste it in there, but this plugin simplifies all of that. Like, let's take this guy right here. I'm just going to right click and search by image. When I do that, I can hit all search engines and it will open a tab for each one of these. Or if I just want to choose one of them, I can do that as well. So let's choose all. And you see all of these tabs popped up. Right now it's uploading that image to all these different places. Here's Bing. Bing has, ooh, look at this. Bing, this is our target guy. And here we've got a Brazilian old man. There's 3,474 pictures of a Brazilian old man. Then we've got preserving kidney function. This guy with the hat on, he's very happy. He has kidney function problem, but he's happy. That's nice. This can help us identify where this picture came from. Here, Getty Images, it just brought us to the page and we would have to open it, upload the picture. Shutterstock, stock photos, we've got 88 results for this guy or a guy that looks like him. So it's not a big issue. We figured out that, hey, this website here is using stock photos. So if we click on this and we just try it on Shutterstock, we take another photo, wait for it, you can see it uploads it. Yeah, this is that exact same person. Here we have it in grayscale or whatever. So they've pulled pictures for their testimonials from a stock photo site. That's not anything suspicious or anything. We do that all the time, but at least you know that's a real person, probably, but this is where the photos came from. For us, understanding where the images came from, where else they've been seen can be really important. We've used this techniques, not with Shutterstock, but like with IKEA, with some of the trademark databases to identify what is that logo on the person's shirt? Where is this picture? And of course, in these images, we will see things like Google will come up with, let's see here. Google has Google Lens here. And it says, oh, we've got thrombosis advisor. And what are your options for Hylea? This is where somebody's using the pictures. This is not where they actually came from. That's why I say always use multiple sites. We use Google and Bing when it came to username searches. Here, we're using Google, but we're also using Shutterstock and the other ones to figure out where stuff came from. And that's the search by image, extension. All right, so that's our next tool. And that tool is pretty fun. Now, I'm going to show you another tool here, which I think is just an amazing one that will speed up your life. And this tool is one that can download things from web pages. It works in your browser, only Chrome and Brave, Chromium, Brave, and it's called Instant Data Scraper. It looks like a Pokeball too. I mean, for those of you that have kids, or maybe you are in with Pokemon, yeah, it looks like a Pokeball, right? I'm not sure how they get away with that, but the idea with Instant Data Scraper in Chrome or Brave is that it will look at the web page and look for tables, and then it will download those tables as a CSV or XLS file to your computer. So I'm sure that most of you have at some point in your online research career come upon a friends list, a profile list, a whole bunch of posts, and you're like, gosh, I'm going to have to copy each one of these and save it locally. This tool will do it for free, and it knows how to scroll down automatically on the pages. So like this is x.com. This is my profile. Watch what we can do. If I install Instant Data Scraper and click the button, it launches a new window. And then over here, you can see this, the page turned yellow. This is the current table that the tool is looking at going, do you want me to take the data from here, Micha? Well, I don't know. Let's take a look. So over here in this window, I'm going to try to make this bigger for us. We can see that there's the URL to the X post. Here we have the date of the post. Here we have the content of that post. Here we have a reference to the status. And if we scroll to the right, there's other bits that it's extracted from, the number of retweets to the number of replies and other stuff as well. Hashtags maybe over here on the right. Yeah, that's what I want. Now you can see they've only collected 5 of them because some of the modern websites, they just will load a certain number of posts or a certain number of friends. Like TikTok will load like 10 followers or friends if you're logged in there. And then as you scroll down, it'll load the next set and the next set and the next set. What we can do is tell Instant Data Scraper, I want you to take control of my browser and I want you to scroll down and then collect and scroll down and collect. And we do that by turning on this infinite scroll button. You click that and it says start crawling. But before you do that, I highly suggest you introduce a minimum delay. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 and a max delay of 10. What this does is it introduces like a random amount of pause, because humans, we scroll down a page, we parse it, then we scroll down a page and we parse it, and it kind of simulates that with random scrolling down instead of just fast scrolling, which would be indicative of a robot. So this keeps us from burning our research accounts. All right, so here we've got that. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit start crawling and watch here. I'm hoping everything works. We should see more. We've got two more pages that were scraped. And keep going. We've got 10 rows now, and you can see as we're going down, we're getting more of those tweets that I sent out. This is from 2019. Now, at a certain point, X might go, hey, you've done enough. You need to log in. And that's okay. Or I might have as much as I need. I'm going to hit stop crawling here. And I've got 23 rows. I'm going to export it to an Excel file. And I'm going to open that Excel file. And this Excel file will be on your system. And it'll look like this. And we can rename these columns to like post URL, date, content, etc. And then you have a complete list of whatever was on that page. Works for followers, friends. You can do it logged in or like I was, not even logged in. It's a really cool tool. Um, and it really will speed up your data collection in many cases. In fact, in some places, it will, let's just see if we can do this one more time. Some places, instead of having an infinite scroll, they will show you 10 results and then say, click here to get to the next page. Well, in that case, over here, we have locate next button. You just click that and then it will say where on the page is the next button. You click on that next button and then set go, and it will virtually click on that button, go to the next page, click on that button, go to the next page, and harvest all that data. Really nice tool, and it's 100% free and accessible. All right, I want to show you one more tool, and this is kind of a fun tool. This is something that I thought of, Claire, when you said, what are you most proud of? What excites you about the work that you've done over the years? This is a fun tool. It's like proof of concept. Some of you probably drink beer. Some of you might actually be familiar with the untapped.com website. Untapped.com, it is one where where people sign up for an account, then they order a beer, they take a picture of the beer, they say, I'm drinking this beer at this place with these people, and here's what it tastes like, and here's my rating of it. And they do that time after time after time, and that data is mostly, unless they've made their account private, mostly open to the internet. And so one day a buddy of mine gave me a challenge. He said, hey, Micha, what's the worst that somebody can do with this data? And I thought, there's a lot. And so, as I said before, I made a Python script and nobody used it. So this is somebody else taking my Python script that was a proof of concept and making it into a full-blown web app. All we have to do is enter in a username. I'm going to enter in this person, Mogford, who's in all of my demos because he travels around the world. And what I can do with this is right now, my browser is going out to Untapped and saying, hey, give me all this about the user Mogford. Give me that about it. All open source. It's just grabbing the data. Then when the data comes back, it's analyzing it and it's going to present it here on the page in an easy to view format for us. So we can see if there's any trends or patterns or interesting things. Oh, of course, there's a network error. One more time. Come on. Let's try it in our host system. Like I said, 60% of the time, it works 100% of the time. So in this case, you would have a person, you're like, hey, they like craft beer. I found their, oh, you're going to do that to me? Come on. Come on. It's scraping the profiles. Come on. You can do it. Let's just see. Help me out here. Live demos, people. It was go with slides or a live demo. I always like the live demo. It feels much more honest. But let's see if it's going to bite me here. Oh, there we go. Good. Ah. So this is what comes back. Now, if we were to visit Untapped's webpage right now, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. If we were to visit Untapped's website right now, you would see that this user, Mogford, had logged 12,930 beers. It's on their profile. Their profile is public. And of those, 10,000 were unique. Here's their recent activity. Here's where they logged those beers. Now, the interesting thing is, you see over here this Google Maps API key. If you sign up for a free Google Maps API key, which is a little complicated to do, but there's a little question mark here that tells you how to do it a little bit, it will plot all of these locations on a map and it'll make it a heat map. And so you can see generally this is where this person is in the world. Now you can also sort by check-in. Here, let's sort by date visited. 6th May. We have a check-in here at Jacksonville International Airport. And then they went to, in Jacksonville, Florida, the Mellow Mushroom restaurant. Interesting, right? Yeah, this user travels town to town to town, visiting airports, checking in a beer, visiting a hotel, checking in a beer at the hotel they're staying at, then going to different places around the area. And we can see that here. There's a whole bunch of that wonderful user behavior, right? Town Place Suites in Houston, Galleria area. Then we have a couple of places in Houston, or a place in Houston, then back to Florida. Not only that, if we keep scrolling down, we see what beers they favor, and then we have drinking patterns. For the last 25 beers, these are the days of the week, the hours of the day, localized to their phone, and the day of the month when they logged those drinks. Now, it doesn't mean that Mogford actually drank the beer, drank 8 drinks on the first of the month. Maybe they did. We don't know, because this requires the user to log those beers, right? We don't know when they actually drank it or anything. But since they did drink 9 drinks on May 25th, they have a binge drinking period. So when you take something like this, you take that, I wonder if I can analyze this data. I wonder if I can put it all together, make something meaningful, and then derive some pattern out of it. That's, I think, what open source intelligence is, right? It's having that question and then seeking out the answer. In this case, you can see that we can see when this person is drinking beers, and we can record this stuff now and then come back next month and do the same thing, or next week and do the same thing, because this looks like a table, right? And we know that Instant Data Scraper will allow me to collect this. So if you have a person, let's say an executive that likes craft beers and is on Untapped and loves touting that they're on Untapped, or you can find them on Untapped or something like that, Vivino, which is for wine, you may be able to track their user behavior to find where they are, who they're with, and what they're doing. And with that, Claire, I see that we're at the top of the hour. So I'm going to pause my presentation and turn it back over to you.
Oh, wow. That's going to be fun to play with. Is there one for Vivino as well, by any chance?
So I started making one for Vivino. There's also a hard liquor one. And I decided I'm just not going to do that. I love this, that it's a proof of concept. Vivino had some extra security that made it harder to automatically scrape that data. But visually, just by you going over to the site, you absolutely can put all this type of stuff together.
Amazing. That's
Cool.
so cool. There were a couple more questions, but
Yeah.
I think we might not have time to address them. I will just say we had one kind of general question saying, how can investigations stay anonymous while conducting OSINT? I don't know if that's something you can speak to very briefly or not.
Yeah. Sure. Very briefly. It takes a lot of effort to remain very anonymous. But I will say this, that you adjust your level of anonymity to your target. I'm trying to find missing and exploited children. I don't have to have 3 VPNs, a virtual machine, channel my way through Tor and the dark web to stay anonymous, because these people are not going to do anything if they find out Micha Hoffman is going to be the one that is researching them. If I'm researching corruption in the government, Russian oligarchs, organized crime, you better believe I'm doing a whole bunch of extra stuff, which is definitely beyond the scope of this talk.
Yes, good for another talk
Yes,
one day.
yes.
Awesome. Well, Micha, this has been amazing. So good, as I expected.
Cool.
We have, let's see, I have already put your tools, my OSINT training link in the chat. We'll try to attach that also to our YouTube video when we get it up there. This presentation will be available on our YouTube channel at the channel's address is PIAI114, which I put in the chat. We'll put it out there again. You can also find it on the website if you go to www.piai.us. That's where to find everything. We hope you'll all join us next time and invite a friend. It's open to everybody. So definitely invite more to come with you, and that would be great. Thanks again for your time, Micha.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invitation.